Well, back in July, Judy Raymond called me and gave me the opportunity to choose a couple of dates where I would come and speak with you. The easy ones were the last Sunday of December and the first Sunday of next year. And I already know what I'm going to talk about. On the last Sunday of December, it will be about endings. And on the first Sunday of January, it will be on beginnings. And then I went back because we agreed on this day. And I thought, what am I going to talk about? What's relevant? And one of the things that came to mind was I had to talk about facts and truth and falsehood and lies and fake news and something in that sphere. So I finally decided I couldn't talk on everything, so I thought I'd talk on truth. Now, that meant I needed to do some research because I just needed to. So I went to this book, which is an encyclopedic book of articles on major subjects. And I said, I wonder what this book article on truth is about. So I went to page 528, and then here's the article on truth. So I read it, and I said to myself, well, some of this makes sense. Some of it's kind of out of date. It doesn't answer some of the questions people would have about truth. And I said, who wrote this? And I looked. And you'll never believe this. The author of Truth was Donald W. Musser. And I thought to myself, if that guy is the author of Truth, this article ought to be true. And I'm looking at it, and I'm finding all kind of problems with it. Things that needed to be added, subtracted, revised. And I thought, whoever this guy is doesn't know as much about truth as he ought to. Well, then I discovered that this was me who wrote this article. And what I just said about the article that I looked after writing it 15 years ago is that the truth about truth was not all in that article, that there were some flaws in it. It needed to be rewritten. And I just recognized the fact that unlike a fair number of religious leaders, I am not infallible. In fact, nobody's infallible, and I know more about my fallibility than anybody does. So I said, okay, I've got to now look somewhere else about truth. And I went to the 7 principles of the UUs. And as we have already been told, this focuses on the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Now, for those of you who have heard me speak before, it is very common that I make allusions to philosophers. But those allusions are usually philosophers who aren't actually philosophers. They are songwriters and singers. Music, they sing music. And I started thinking about the search for truth and meaning. And I went back to the 9th grade, 1957. And it just hit me that a song by the Coasters fits exactly what I need to know and speak about. And it's searching, gonna find it. and I'm searching every which way, yay, yay. And that tune has been with me ever since it struck me. And anybody under 60 who is listening to this has no history with that song. The Coasters were inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, and they had a whole lot of other songs like Yakety Yak, which I'm not going to do in this talk. Try not to. Okay, so I want to talk about searching. Searching to find a faith of your own. Now, as soon as we talk about anybody searching, we're talking about us, all right? Who are we talking about here? It's me and it's you. It's me by myself. It's us together. And then we have to realize, once we come of age and we realize what we've been taught to believe or not believe, is just a small portion of the options out there. It's just not I, it's just not us. It's also them. And when you come of age, whenever that is, when you take responsibility for what you think and what you believe, you just don't stick with what you inherited, although you may reaffirm that, and that may become your faith of your own, but you have to own it. But a lot of us, especially in the world where we have come to know other faiths, other ways of life, we have been searching. And what is it we're searching about? Well, it's a faith. Well, what's a faith? What constitutes a faith? Well, it's a belief.
As you can tell, I think, because the ladies will tell her.
Oh, because the ladies will snitch on you? Fucking bitches.
There.
No. Yeah.
What's going on?
We have someone who's not muted. Please make sure you're muted and we're hearing that noise besides your
There's no,
homily.
I have no music here. Okay. All right. Look, there two sides of faith. One is cognitive. That's believe. You say, I believe in blah, 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 blah. The other is you're doing. You do something. And those are your actions. And that's where we get our ethics and our values from. So what you're searching for as a human being in faith is to find something you can say, yes, I believe this. And you can then act upon the implications of that belief. You have faith and action together. So when you do that, you are actually going about mental activity, your senses are involved, your emotions are involved, your life experience is involved, and some of us even have dings. We have visions, we believe in dreams, we feel led by a power of some sort. So, to get a faith of your own, you have to own it. And you have to search to find, because the world is so complicated. So, for example, I remember growing up. I did not grow up in a religious family, but I was sent to church. And I believed everything that the preacher said and the Sunday school teacher said. And I didn't have any reason not to believe them. They were really good people. They seemed to know what they were talking about. And I had a very narrow and very strong belief in what I was taught. But when I became of age, this is probably about when I started college, and I started meeting people from other traditions, other places, other ideas. And I came to realize there were a lot of options out there. Then when I graduated college and moved to New Jersey, it was like moving to another planet. I met people, and they were just so different. My roommate was the grandson of a conservative Jewish rabbi. He was the first Jewish person I ever met in my life. And it was just such an education. So you go about, you go places, you meet different people, you explore, you take a look at other faiths. In the faith world that I lived in into my early 20s, there were no other options. Everybody else was going to hell, especially Catholics. When I started being interested in girls, my dad always asked me, what religion is she? My dad never went to church. That didn't matter. But he said, what religion is she? Well, I lived in a town where there were about 2% Protestants, and all the rest of the people were Catholic or Orthodox, Greek Orthodox. And he was always irate if I was talking to a Catholic girl. Well, I got out in the world. I found out that Catholics are people. And when Vatican Council II occurred in the mid-1960s, I ended up being a part of a Bible study with some priests. Then I got to know the Mormons. I never met a Mormon until I was 50 years old. Now in fact, I have it right here. I have a copy of the book that me and a professor from Brigham Young University, a devout Mormon, wrote. And when I was in the Air Force, I was open enough to be an advocate of the Wiccans, to have an outdoor place at the Air Force Base, and of all places, Alabama, to have their services. So my own experience is one of looking out, finding there are other ways of being, and appreciating a part of what those other ways of being are. I usually go to sleep at night with my wife, and we go, Hugh. Now, if you've never heard of the Hugh, it is a part of the faith practice called Eckankar. And I have become pretty good at hewing, and it really is a good way to go to sleep, which leads me to a sense of peace about yourself. Is what a faith, when you make your faith your own, you come to be at peace with yourself, which is not an easy thing for people. You sometimes find a problem with, you have all kind of issues and you just can't accept yourself. And one of the things about finding peace is to accept yourself for what you are and who you are, not as though there are flaws that you can't fix, but you got to be at peace with yourself and do the best you can with what you have. And then to have peace with others, to not be envious, to not lust after another that you shouldn't be, that there's all the others are always better off than you, and you come to resent others. Peace, a faith with peace at its heart is one in which you accept yourself and you accept and tolerate others no matter what, and you feel as though you are okay in the universe. You have, as we would say it in Christianity, peace with God. You would have peace with your maker. You would have a sense that you're okay. And when you do that, you can sing the song that you've been searching in every which way, and you've found it. It's not nirvana necessarily, but you found a peace within yourself, a peace with others, and a peace with the divinity in whatever modality you as a person understand that. And so my closing remark is simply keep on searching. Keep on searching, and you will find a faith of your own. And as they say in the Baptist church, amen.